We are back at the League of Women Voters of St. Lucie County Candidate Forum. In the city of Port St. Lucie, there are 6 candidates for mayor, and we have them with us today. Joe Edge, Joanne Fiella, Chancellor Gunny Howell. We have Rocky Tinto, Jim Rich, and Greg Orvac. Thank you all for being here. We have 2 minutes each for opening statements, and let's start with Joe Edge.
Thank you, Carol, and thank you to the League of Women Voters for giving us the opportunity today to speak to you. My name is Joe Edge. I'm a candidate for mayor in the city of Port St. Lucie. I've been coming to Port St. Lucie since 1974. I moved here in 1990 after 10 years in the Navy and 5 years of working for a defense contractor in Virginia Beach. Shortly after coming to Port St. Lucie, I opened what is now the tax shop. I'm a 24-year veteran of small business here in Port St. Lucie. Proud grandfather. I look forward to serving the people of Port St. Lucie and bringing a sense of integrity and respect back to the office of mayor and the city council. And I thank you again, Carol, for the opportunity.
Opening statement, Joanne Fiella.
Thank you. Thank you, Carol. I am the current mayor of the city of Port St. Lucie, born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. I have 3 wonderful children and a wonderful grandchild. I've served the last 4 years. I'm committed to serving the people of Port St. Lucie. I'm all about serving the people and doing the right things, the people's wants, needs, and what they truly do want and their concern. I'm currently the president of the Florida League of Cities of the Treasure Coast, voted in twice in 2 years in a row, and I'm dedicated and committed to 12 committees and civil organizations. And thank you again.
Opening statement, Chancellor Gunny Howell.
Good morning. My name is Chancellor Howell, Gunnery Sergeant, United States Marine Corps retired. I'm a native Floridian, 51 years of age. I retired from the United States Marine Corps in 2003. My formal education consists of a master's degree with a concentration in Homeland Security, and I also have a bachelor's degree with a concentration in sociology, psychology, and political science. I'm currently on sabbatical now from a doctoral management program with Colorado Technical University. During the course of the next several weeks, you will hear me speak about 4 different things. That is the lack of industry, quality of life, digital domain, and finally education. Are there other things that comprise of what the city needs to be addressed? Absolutely. But I do believe that all constituents, their concerns will probably fall under the cognizance from a macro standpoint of those 4 different areas. Again, my name is Chancellor Howell. I have served this country. Now I'm ready to serve you as mayor of Port St. Lucie. Thank you.
Opening statement, SN Rocky Tinto.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rocky, and starting my condolence to the family of the deputy. We just passed away. His officer, Deputy Lee's family. Our hearts go towards those family. I've been living in Port St. Lucie for 16 years. Currently, I am president and CEO to corporation and operate 2 convenience store. And currently, I have a family who lives in here, and I like to serve this Port St. Lucie as a mayor. My theme is to get together all weekend, let's succeed together, 8 to 5. I emphasize the 8 to 5 based on actually to reform the school. And that my priority is actually if we create a safe haven for people who actually like to work from 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock, which is change our community. Based on our statistic, we have a lot of foreclosing house. People are losing job in and out. We don't create any job, but we still can live together if we just took it in a lot of stuff that we have wrong. And we don't want to blame each other, but we can actually work together so we can change the school from 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock. So we have a 9 hours frame so parents can work and they can have money to raise their family. And this is actually the other way around also is going to help our community and our growth for the economy. A lot of people working in the table, which is not helping our community and grow the economy really. So let's work together. As the mayor of Port St. Lucie, I will actually work hard for you. And thanks for giving me an opportunity to come here today.
Thank you. Opening statement, Jim Rich.
Good afternoon, Carol. Thank you for moderating, and thank you for the League of Voters for hosting this event. I'm Jim Rich, and I'm a candidate for mayor for the city of Port St. Lucie. I moved here in 1986. I originally am from Orlando, Florida, and grew up in the Daytona Beach, Ormond Beach area, so I'm a native Floridian. I was appointed in 2003 by the City Council to serve for 2 terms, that's 8 years, on the Planning and Zoning Board. And during my time on the Planning and Zoning Board, I ran meetings, was chairman for 2 years. I handled press and the questions from the press. And as part of that board, we gave sound decisions based on the information we had to City Council for their final approval. And that's really where I learned to appreciate local business, develop some great contacts with department heads and so forth, and prompted my decision to run in 2010 when I ran for mayor. 3 key points of my campaign have been this: to restore honor, integrity, and respect to the office of mayor. We have not had that in 4 years, and it's high time that we have that. I think if people, citizens of Port St. Lucie, don't have the respect of their government, then nothing else that you do ever matters, because they won't believe you. The other point of my campaign is to market the city of Port St. Lucie aggressively. We've missed a number of opportunities. Some innovations and technologies that have been developed in Western Port St. Lucie and the Tradition Center of Innovation. I think we've missed key opportunities to promote those innovations out there. And lastly, we need to work as a region. Our neighbors to the north in Fort Pierce and Saint Lucie County, and to the west in Okeechobee and Martin County, we need to work together to market ourselves as a region. If a company's not a great fit for Port St. Lucie, but they feel better and more comfortable and it's a benefit to Fort Pierce, I'd work to make that happen, because ultimately it would help our economy here in Port St. Lucie and employ some of our people. I appreciate the opportunity, Carol, and I look forward to serving you as your mayor.
Opening statement, Greg Orvac.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you to the League for having us. And thank you to our participants and the citizens of Port St. Lucie for allowing me to be here. In these 2 minutes, I'd like to share a little of my background, my beliefs, and my thoughts on our future. I am a native Floridian, a graduate of the University of Miami with a degree in marine environmental systems, a husband, a father, a small business owner, and for most of my professional life, a public servant. My career in public service started before my academic career ended, and that experience of public service and helping people to better their hometown changed the course of my life. And I went on to serve in a number of positions, including the city manager of Port St. Lucie. Core values matter, and I believe in hard work, excellence, integrity, accountability, and service above self. Over the course of my career in public service, I've always put the people first, not just in words, but in actions, and have lived by these beliefs. I'm passionate about Port St. Lucie. I love Port St. Lucie, and I feel like we're just scratching the surface of our potential. I truly believe that our time is now. Now is the time for us to unite around a shared vision, to roll up our sleeves and to work with our neighbors to lower taxes, decrease our debt, help create jobs, build sidewalks for our children, and save our river. Working hard and working together, and that's really the key, because no one person can change everything. It really takes a team. It takes a group of us working hard and working together. We can make our motto, City for All Ages, more than just words. We can become a city where you can be born, where you can go to a great school, attend a university or vocational school, get a good job, raise a family, and retire. A place where you can live the good life at great value. A city that you never have to leave. I hope that that vision resonates with you and that you can feel it, because I didn't create it, you did. I look forward to working with you as your mayor.
Okay, we'll begin the questions from the League of Women Voters of St. Lucie County. We're going to rotate the first answer to each one, so let's start with Joanne Fiella. What entities or business ventures would you seek out to make Port St. Lucie a destination city between West Palm and Orlando?
Well, I already have recruited quite a few number of businesses. One was in a school, was with Achievers, which education. One was Bass Pro, and the other one was Tesla Motors. So we I've had that vision for a long time, and it takes time, it takes effort, and on all parties are doing that. But we already have that vision, and it's been established.
Mr. Howell? What would-
Yes.
Make us a destination city.
In light of what is already built and established with the white elephant in the room, digital domain, basically one of the 10 companies that I've researched is called the Merlin Entertainment Group. These are the owners and the proprietors of Legoland. That money that's already been spent for that location, one of their companies in their portfolio, Madame Tussauds, which is a life-size wax museum, would satisfy our tourist industry. It would also look good traveling north and south on I-95, and I think it's something that is an educational tie to it as well. So that is one of 10 companies that I have researched. Now, mind you, I have not engaged any of these companies that I've researched. That's just one that I shared in this forum today. But I encourage all of you to visit their website and look at their portfolio. And those are the types of companies that we should be in pursuit of, because it will not only offer jobs for individuals with college degrees, but also ones who are not interested in going to college, service level jobs as well. So I encourage you to do your research on Madame Tussauds from the Merlin Entertainment Group.
Okay, Mr. Tinto.
Digital domain, we have a problem for long, but we cannot blame everybody. It's just we have to take ourselves. We have to create actually, we can work with same thing, basically, that my niece owns a TV station, and the game show that we see, the Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy, or Price is Right, we can create this kinds of program for those studio and can create a lot of job, bring revenue from different area. We can also have from the hotel and restaurant, car dealership, they can sponsor, and this studio can be used as it is for for money making, job opportunity. Also, other things that also we talk about today is the education. Vocational center is actually needed for these countries. It's everywhere, not on Port St. Lucie only. So we can create some kinds of technical job for the kid doesn't want to go to college. And not every child is fortunate enough to this economy to go to the college due to the overprice of the college tuition fee. So our vision is to take care of this generation, to guide them in a good direction, though they can do something in their life, not just blaming each other that we can do this, we cannot do that. My vision is if we create some kinds of program for kids that want to go to school, vocational training center is the right idea for them. Parents not fortunate enough, give them opportunity to have room for work time, and it's going to give us a good family tie. And the school is also another biggest issue for us. So the time is good. We can change it, and we can able to actually can have economic growth in this city. And thank you for everybody.
Okay, Mr. Rich, what would you recruit to make Port St. Lucie a destination?
Carol, there's a number of companies that are leaving California, Connecticut, New York, and California, Connecticut, and New York. And they're going to Texas and they're going to South Carolina. There's very favorable business environments there. And I want to be on the radar. I want to be the state, and specifically Port St. Lucie, be the area that these companies seriously consider. Low tax rates. We have, in my opinion, a very prominent and upcoming post-secondary educational system where we can create curriculum and programs to get people educated and to work in these companies. But I want to focus on the biotech. We've got a lot of innovations that are happening right now in the center, Tradition Center for Innovation. The Karolinska Institute from Stockholm, Sweden, will be occupying the 3rd floor of the Vaccine Gene Therapy Institute. That's big time. They're the group that awards the Nobel Prize in Physics, and that's happening here in Port St. Lucie. The FDA finally approved Afrezza, which is a drug that is for lack of a better term, a powderized version of insulin, and a delivery unit, which is simply like a pipe. And this system will be able to inject insulin into type 1 and type 2 diabetics that meet certain protocol, and within 12 to 15 minutes, which is half the time that it usually takes with injection sites or pumps that you wear on your waistband. So I think these are key innovations that have happened that we've kind of missed the opportunity in promoting those. And if you know researchers and people who publish articles, they love to hear themselves talk and they love to hear about their accomplishments. We need to really promote these accomplishments on a city's website, and we should never forget our local businesses, their accomplishments with some of our small businesses that are longtime businesses. We need to promote them in general as well, but primarily the biomedical field and to attract some of those companies here. Thank you, Carol.
Mr. Orvik.
It's an interesting question because when you say who you will recruit, it seems like you naturally exclude other populations, and I don't discriminate. We want any business that will produce above average wages and is interesting in coming to Port St. Lucie and the greater Saint Lucie County and Treasure Coast region. And I think how we do that is we focus on fundamentals. At the end of the day, businesses are comprised of people, and they move here for the same reasons that we did. They want to enjoy the Florida lifestyle at the best possible value. So one of the things that the city can do is it can make sure that it's providing the very best in quality of life at the best price point. And that's value. Value is the intersection of quality and price. We don't need to be the cheapest. We don't need to be the most expensive. We don't need to provide the least amount of services or the most amount of services. We have to find that right balance. And that's really our mission. We have to address taxes. We have to make smart investments. And we have to partner with the EDC, the county, and all of the Treasure Coast.
Mr. Edge.
Well, one of the things we have to realize as a city, I've been coming here since 1974, and I've seen Port St. Lucie when it was 25 or 30,000 people, and now in excess of 165,000 people. One of the things we have to realize is that we can't be everything to everybody. And when someone wants to come here and open their business here, we just can't bow down every time and keep saying yes. Right now, today, we're in a significant amount of debt because our history has been that when businesses come here, we want to give them everything to make them stay. And then when they leave, we have nothing to show for it but continued debt and infrastructure that we still have to support. One of the things that I want to do when I'm elected mayor is get on the road and go see what's successful in other communities. Because if it's successful there, chances are we can make it a success here. But we have to remember that we can't be everything to everybody. We have to be responsible to the taxpayers of this city and make decisions that are going to benefit all of them. One idea that I've really liked is something like Old Town in Orlando, out in the Tradition area, that's going to solve two needs. The one need that would solve is a lot of people always complain that there's nothing for our kids to do. Okay, and it's going to bring revenue here, sales tax revenue, property tax revenue. And we have to start making smart business decisions. I've been a successful business owner in the city of Port St. Lucie for 24 years. I know what a business plan is, and I know what it takes to make a success of something like that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next question begins with Mr. Howell. What are the three biggest issues facing the city right now? And please explain your plan to correct them, what you would do differently.
Yes. The three big issues, in my opinion, one is the rehab centers that are coming in Torino. That's a hot flash item. The other one is the all aboard railroad. That is another one that is on the outskirts, so to speak, of the city limits of Port St. Lucie. And finally, the third one I do believe is one of my bullet points, which is the lack of industry. There are so many people that I believe everyone in the audience can relate to that live here in Port St. Lucie, but they have to commute north or south because of the lack of industry here. I believe to address all of those issues, you do have to get all of the stakeholders to the table. The way that the charter is written, the mayor, which is the office that I'm in quest of, cannot make unilateral decisions. Everything is based on a vote. But we still need the stakeholders who are going to inevitably be affected at the end of the day. And that is those 167,000 constituents that we have out there. How do you get their attention? You have a task force. When I commuted as one of the residents in the city of Port St. Lucie who worked down in Clematis, and I did that for 3 years at the Florida Crystal Building, I had to commute. Now, one of the things that we did in the city of West Palm Beach when I was on a member of the Green Task Force was we had open meetings. The city currently does have workshops, and I commend them for doing that, but it is limited in terms of the input from the constituents. And that is something that I would change because it's imperative to understand. I'm sorry, I see the red light, so I'll go ahead and end it there.
All right, we'll come back and discuss some more.
Yes.
But, Mr. Santo, three biggest
The
concerns?
biggest three issue that I again saying the job, and job is actually priority for every person to sustain for the kids, the family. And if you don't have money, you're gonna pay your water bill or electric bill, they will shut it down. If you don't pay your loan, you're gonna shut it down for your house, evicted, and you could be, mortgage is belly up because of a lot of bad loan that we have. And we can fix it. We have to create a room for the parents to get a job. Corporate world is taking a chance because we have the kid go to school, they come in 6 o'clock in the morning in the bus stand and come back at 1:30. And that's 7-hour time. Parent doesn't have any place to have a full-time job. And no corporation gonna give you the benefit to as a full-time employee. So if you create a room for the parents to have a work from 8 to 5, again, I'm saying, and you're gonna have a job, if you create a job, expertise coming in, if the people practice their skill, they will be gradually benefited. And the kid's gonna be benefited. A lot of parents today, single parents, and they're not fortunate enough, some of them stay behind. And if they stay behind, DCF is there behind them. But we don't creating something for them. Let's change the school. We can actually have a room for parents to work, have the money that they can feed the kid. And if we feed the kid will be happy. They will do good in the school too. And education is the priority for this county also. And our education is going down because of we don't pay attention that what the parents should work or not work. Government can't take care of them all the time. Food stamp or Social Security is not the actually the answer for everybody. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Rich, three biggest issues facing the city.
Carol, the number one issue I think I addressed in my opening statement, and that's to restore honor, integrity, and respect to the office of mayor. I would be a champion of creating a council, an ethics council, or an ethics board. I would look to the city of Jacksonville, and if I may, and the city of Jacksonville implemented an ethics council in 2010, and it was because of problems with vendors, problems with city workers, problems with the elected officials. And if I may read a statement from their website, ethics is more than avoidance of criminal behavior. It is a commitment for public servants to take individual responsibility in creating a government that has a trust and respect of its citizens. And again, as I said before, if you don't have that, then nothing else you do matters because nobody will believe you. The second issue I want to do is recruit businesses. And again, I addressed that in the previous question. It is imperative that we aggressively market the city of Port St. Lucie, recruit employers, get our people working. Then the housing industry, the inventory of housing starts to decrease. You need to build some more houses. We keep the money local, we keep people here. I'm part of the 40% of the population that has to leave Port St. Lucie for work. I work in West Palm Beach. I live up here in Port St. Lucie, obviously. So we want to reduce the number of people that have to leave the county. And lastly, we have to address our debt. We have monumental debt. The digital domain building's been vacant for about 2 years. And in April of this year, we just went out for an RFP for looking for a broker. What have we been doing for 2 years? I think we need to be proactive and be ahead of the curve rather than be reactive and face the consequences. So it's imperative that we sell that building. We're going to unfortunately not recoup anywhere near the value of the property. We're just simply looking to reduce our debt. Thank you.
Mr. Orbeck.
Well, as being mayor, you have to listen to people. And so in the run, we've certainly been talking and listening to a lot of people. And what they've said the three big issues are, almost without fail, every one of the meet and greets and the forums is number one, values. They want to feel like their mayor reflects their values. They want to be proud of the city. They want PSL to mean something like Port St. Lucie rather than some of the other things that we hear. Number two, they want better schools. And it doesn't matter that the city of Port St. Lucie isn't the school board. It's a major part of the community and impacts us. And then lastly, and these are in no order, depending on the forum, the order of the items can differ. And then the other item is jobs. And with the last question, you address recruitment, which is a piece of job creation. But I think it's also important to recognize that small business still accounts for the majority of work in the United States. The last study I read, it was about 53% of all jobs are created by small business. And so when we talk about recruitment, it's not only important in the year of the polar vortex to capitalize on all of our strengths as a community and reach out to bring people in, but let's not just focus on bringing in free agents and buying love. Let's focus on growing it from within. The people who are already here, the people that are already in the PTO, the people that volunteer for the boards and are a fundamental part of our community, let's help them succeed in their small business so that we can all flourish.
Thank you. Mr. Edge, top three issues.
Thank you, Carol. The top one in my book has to be fiscal responsibility. We have to start making better business decisions. Today, the city's economy and our budget is suffering for decisions that were made in the last 15 or 20 years, and we have to stop doing that. More recently, several examples. One is the latest controversy with the city center, and a person bought it, paid for the property, and never paid the tax debt on it. And now we as a city are entertaining negotiations with this person, and they haven't paid the tax bill on it yet. If I was sitting in the mayor's seat today, I wouldn't even have a discussion until the taxes are paid. We have to be responsible to the taxpayers of this city first. They come first. We've had people come to this city before making promises and promises and promises, and they don't deliver, and there's nobody to be held accountable. We made bad decisions before, and we have to stop doing that. Secondly, we have to bring jobs to the city. Going out and looking for the biggest employer is not the answer, because let's just say, for the sake of argument, Liberty Medical left. That would devastate a lot of people, and we can't solely be dependent on one big employer. We have to go out and look for lots of small and medium-sized businesses that can flourish here. And lastly, and more important, the perception of our city council has to become better in the public eye, and the only way we can do that is develop a more productive relationship with the news media. When bad things happen, they're in the newspaper all the time. The saddest part about it is we give them all the ammunition, and we have to stop doing that. We have to think about what's right for the taxpayers. Every time we make a decision, the taxpayers got to come first. Thank you.
Ms. Fiala, top three issues.
Thank you. The top three issues that I hear going around residentials and neighborhoods, and people call me, are digital domain, city center, sober homes, and detox. Digital domain, yes, we need to market. We're doing all the best that we can. We need to reduce the bonds, which reduce the debts. City center, we do have debt. Nobody has made good on the debt, and we need to foreclose on the property and be done with it. And versus sober homes and detox, I have a neighborhood that are up in arms and reference not in my backyard. It's up to us elected officials. Sometimes we say, laws need to be changed, and that's what I'm doing. We're lobbying Tallahassee, we're lobbying Washington. I've talked to Congress, and things take time, and we know that, and we're looking at it, and we're going to do the best that we can to get them more allocation where these sober homes and detox need to go in cities, and that's what we're facing.
Okay, first on the next question will be Mr. Tinto. What specific experience do you bring over your opponents to offer the residents of Port St. Lucie as their mayor, if elected?
If I elected, I actually reach out those industry that actually, I worked for Piper Aircraft 6 years. Building and manufacturing actually the biggest things to job creation. And we have to create some kinds of, industry here that people actually gonna work and create a job. Currently, we actually import steel from China. That's not the answer. We have to go build our own product. We start to building it, steel from our own scrap. We have tons of scrap yard from here to Orlando to Fort Pierce. You name it, we have it. We have to keep this industry, steel industry. Recently, there was a campaign against for this no buying steel from China. I'm not going to blame anybody to that. We have the cheap product we're buying, but it's actually shooting our foot. If we don't take care of ourselves, we don't start building our product today here, and we're going to grow in a debt. Currently, China, the debt we have almost the 7 state value of the 7 state. So if we start doing this, sooner or later we have to be dependent on other people. We need to start building our own factories and mills so we can create a job. And job creating experience also count. You need to create some kinds of training center so they can work. Piper, I work as a final mechanic. We build plane, and this goes all over the world. So if the Piper is still working, so we need to start building some kinds of mills and factory that we need here, and we can start doing that. So we can reach out in those people who want to put in the industry here. So as a mayor of Port St. Lucie, I'll reach out for those companies. And anybody do that, we're going to give some kinds of tax break for them. And that's going to help us. And also we can successful with this employment problem that we have. And it's going to also help the government too. Thank you.
Mr. Rich,
Would you please repeat the question?
what specific experience do you bring over your opponents to offer to the residents of Port St. Lucie as their mayor, if elected?
Thank you. I think the biggest experience that I've had, the most enjoyable, frankly, was serving on the Planning and Zoning Board, running meetings identical to city council meetings, handling the press, handling very tough issues, and providing decisions and recommendations to city council for them to make proper decisions. I think my mentoring with kids for many, many years as a baseball umpire. Sportsman's Park is my home park off Prima Vista, and I thoroughly enjoyed my time when my son was 5. He's 19 now. He's going to go to FIT up in Melbourne to study for a computer science degree. And I really want to be mayor because I want to work aggressively to bring some companies here that he can, in 4 or 5 years, be employed here and work here and live close by. But mentoring kids, to me, is critical. If we lose a generation of kids, those kids are going to be underemployed, they're going to be undereducated, and they're going to get in trouble. So I think providing a safe environment for kids to play in is important to me. I still umpire baseball games. I'm doing a game tonight at 6:30 at Sportsman's Park, so please come on out and watch. I think traveling, been to a number of countries around the world as a young man, and I think that really solidified my appreciation for the cultures and dealing with people in a business environment, specifically Japanese, Chinese, and Singapore. Learning those cultural differences gave me a greater appreciation. And life experience culminated to bring me to where I am today. My background in marketing for 25 plus years also is going to be a huge asset in recruiting businesses, promoting businesses that are still here and that are the backbone and lifeblood of our community. Thank you, Carol.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Orvett, what specific experience do you bring over your opponents?
Well, it's funny. I believe that everything happens for a reason, and at certain moments in time, everything comes together. I'm a native Floridian, so a lot of the issues facing the city, I grew up studying and evaluating, and it pushed me to this moment, this place, right now, and put me on this course. I went to the University of Miami. My degree is in marine environmental systems. Has there ever been a better time for the mayor of Port St. Lucie to be an expert on the river and lagoon and some of the issues impacting us? I started out in planning and zoning. I started my professional career in planning and zoning. and went on to become a director of planning and zoning, a community redevelopment agency director, an assistant city manager, and the city manager of Port St. Lucie. Of all the candidates, I'm the only one that has actually drafted a budget which lowers the taxes of Port St. Lucie residents. Yes, it was ultimately approved by the city council, but under the charter, under our constitution at the city, I was the person responsible for drafting that budget. So I'm uniquely qualified with my experience to serve as mayor, both in a general sense and in the nuts and the bolts of the city. And I look forward to bringing that knowledge to bear for the good of the people.
Mr. Edge.
Well, as I said at the beginning, I spent 10 years in the United States Navy, joined the Navy right after high school. I proudly served my country for 10 years. Being in the military, you learn things that you're never going to learn in school about human nature, about how to deal with people, how not to deal with people. And one of the things we have to do as a city is remember the direction that we're going in and putting the people first. Things like improving productivity without spending a dime. It's as easy as telling an employee, thanks for a good day. And we have to, those kind of core things, we have to remember that. We can't go to work in fear of our bosses or the people that we work for are going to come down on us or deal with us harshly because of who they associate with or who their friends are. We have to realize the value of all of our assets in the city. There's some neighborhoods that even though we're coming out of a recession are still suffering. And our taxpayers have to visualize that every day they walk out their front door. And we have not made any efforts at all to solve that problem. And lastly, 24 years as a small business owner, my profession is accounting, taxes, and business consulting. I know what it's like to build a business. I know what it's like to have failures in that business. I know what a business plan looks like. And you don't get that experience from reading it out of a book or going to school. You have to live it every day. You have to deal with employees and their issues and be sensitive to those issues. And Port St. Lucie has so much potential and a great future, and I want to be part of that. That's why I want to be the mayor. Thank you.
Ms. Viella, what specific experience do you bring over your
Thank you.
opponents?
I'm in the position for 4 years. I do care about people. I have a heart for people. I have been recruiting businesses to Port St. Lucie. I've helped initiate and create 2 bills that passed last year in legislation. I have a great reputation with the governor's office, great communication with Enterprise Florida. I have received 2 letters of commendation and recommendation from the governor for recruiting businesses to Port St. Lucie. So that's what I bring to the table.
Mr. Howell.
Carol, I believe what separates me from the rest of the field is a culmination of my leadership, formal education, world travel, and finally work experience. Now, I can't apologize for the majority of my adult years being spent in the Marine Corps. And someone said in a blog, all he talks about is his career in the Marine Corps. I can't apologize for that, ladies and gentlemen. With that said, I believe that it's imperative that we have a person who exercises leadership. I read, as I ascertained making a run for mayor, the charter. And what is the criteria? What are the parameters in which that individual is supposed to navigate? I met and superseded those qualifications. And putting it in layman's terms, it's very important to understand that leadership is the sum of those qualities of intellect, human understanding, and moral character that enables a person to lead a group of people successfully. Now, that's no pun against the incumbent or anybody else on the panel up here, but I believe a culmination of my work experience, formal education, and my ability to take a step back and ascertain what's best for the team. My final promotion in the Marine Corps from the commandant, and the General Jim Jones said to me, Gunny Howell, this promotion is a sign of experience more so than a sign of authority. And if, in fact, you are the consummate professional that I believe you are, you will be able to take a step back and ascertain what's best for the team. Because the best idea is not always going to come from you. It's going to come from one of those men and women that fall under your charge. And again, that's what I believe makes me more qualified in this instance than anyone up here. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Tinto.
I graduated from 84 University of Dhaka in general science, and also I have a degree on and math, which is actually bring to the table for calculation when you do math and everybody, and what I said, budget. Not everybody fortunate enough to do the right decision. We're not going to blame nobody. Let's work together. We can fix together. If we don't get even elected today, or I'm not going to get elected, but still we can fix some problem, these cities. School need to be changed that time. Kid getting run over by sitting on the sidewalk and losing a child for 16, 17 years is not fair for parents. It is heartbreaking for those parents to lose their child to educate them. In the morning, we have a lot of drunk drivers. They come out from the bar, they don't know the right decision. They drink and they hit the kid. We lost kid. We need to change the school. If we change the school timing, it's going to help us also, the parents to work. Again, I'm saying. And also economy going to come back to us. Because if parents work, money will come their pocket. And the government is going to have their income tax money. And they will spend in the city. They're not going to spend anywhere else. Their kid, their family, and their housing. That's the basic need. So let's fix together, not blaming each other. We make a bad decision. Let's work together. We make a better place for Port St. Lucie. Okay? Bring jobs, have a good relationship with the community that we have, and get to work together. And that's my only things I want to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now, next question starts with Mr. Rich. Many residents are concerned by taxing and government spending. What is your experience with government budgeting?
Having never been elected to public office, I can say that I have no experience in government budgeting. As a mayor serving on a council of 5, collectively, you would obviously approve whatever budget the city manager provides to you. Mayor is one vote. That's the power, limited power of the mayor. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Orvek, specific experience with government budgeting.
I have been preparing budgets for the better part of my 18-year career in government, starting with smaller budgets of planning departments, and then culminating with the city of Port St. Lucie's $500 million, $500 million budget. It was my responsibility under the charter to prepare that and present it to the city council. And as you look at budgets, it's very important to recognize that ultimately the council approves that budget, adopts that budget, and is responsible. And over the course of the year, they're responsible for asking questions and being accountable to the people. They're the ones voted in. And I hope to use that experience in our public budgeting workshops and others, in my experience as a city manager and as an assistant city manager, and knowing how these things work. I hope to ask good questions from the dais in the hope of attaining a better product. We need to reduce taxes. We need to attack our debt. But at the same time, we have to make smart investments in our future, like sidewalks, like water quality, so that we can swim in our river. And that's a delicate balancing act. That's why politics are contentious, because this is not an easy thing. You have to find the right balance. And so I hope to bring that experience and ability to bear to help our city move forward and to find that balance, to find non-tax revenues, to increase the revenue side, and to cut spending where it needs to be cut. And I think my record as city manager shows that I do want to cut wasteful spending. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Edge, experience with government budgeting.
Well, that's probably the easiest question you've asked today, but I joined the Navy in 1976, and the last 6 years I spent in the Navy, and the last 24 plus years in small business. That's all I do every day. Budgets, business plans, analyzing debt, also looking at who owes us money. One of the things we fail to look at in situations like this is somebody owes the city money. We have an obligation to the taxpayers to go get it. Right now, we're over $9 million in debt just in unpaid code enforcement fines. And that's been an ongoing problem for the last, well, since 2005 that I have records of. A budget is not hard to analyze, but what you have to have a talent in doing is it's not analyzing what's in front of you, it's looking for what's not there, that should be there, and how we're spending money, and setting politics aside. Because most of the controversy we've had as a city council and as a city over the past years is making hard decisions when it comes to the budget. The decisions are easy, politics complicates them. And it forces good people into making bad decisions sometimes. And that's what we've done over the last 15 or 20 years. We're so excited about bringing business here, we're willing to roll out the red carpet and give everybody everything at the expense of the taxpayers. And we have to stop doing that. Thank you.
Ms. Fiella, your experience in government budgeting.
Well, being as the mayor of the city of Port St. Lucie for the last 4 years and being presented every single year the budget, it's very hard being out there looking inside, and we have cut wasteful spending. But for me, it's level of service. We have to give the best of what we have at that level of service. So it's kind of hard sometimes the decision that a council makes as what to cut, what not to cut. But again, we make the best decision, and we watch the budget very, very carefully. And there's things that we haven't done, like refurbished cars, police cars. We haven't repave some of the roads. So we as a council as a whole, we prioritize our needs, and it's not going unseen. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Howell.
Yes, let me preface my response to that by saying I have no experience with that. However, that compelled me as I entered into this race to take the time out to visit every department head in the municipality so that I can at least gain a rudimentary understanding of how that department functions from a macro standpoint within the city limits of Port St. Lucie. So I have no experience in terms of that. However, I submit to you that I know where to find the answer, because the question that you ask, there are two departments that will have to be a part of the equation in that conversation. That's the Office of Management and Budgeting and Finance, because that's where you're going to find the data from history of years before, different fiscal years that have come and gone. So I have no experience personally. I was a logistician in the United States Marine Corps. I do understand supply and demand. However, I'm the type of person that if I don't personally know the answer, I'm going to seek out that subject matter expert to help me find the answer. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Tinto, your experience with government budgeting.
Government budgeting, I don't have experience, but we can say that unnecessary spending, such as we can see the area that we want to put a sidewalk that nobody ever walk, okay? This area that we need, put it on where the kids stand in the school, we need to put it on there. It's smart spending. We can create some kinds of booth type, we can advertise those areas and generate money for advertisement. The budgeting is kind of tough issue also. Is sometimes we want to make look city good for other people. We want to put some palm trees, flower trees. It sometimes could be unnecessary, but it's needed. Code enforcement money is not our money for the, we actually putting a hole to people's pocket. Code enforcement money is when somebody not doing the right things, you find them, correct them in a certain time, and if they don't do it, you find them. That money is illusionary. That money is not going to help you. Let's create job. Let's city grow as we grow. City don't shrink, city grow. Let's employ more people in the city, Let's budget it out equally. Instead of giving a raise the big chunk of money for our big bosses, let's disperse with the people and make them hire more people. That's called smart budgeting. When people will get the money and they sustain, and they'll be happy. And that's going to be better living. As a mayor of Port St. Lucie, I will do that.
Thank you. Next question goes first to Mr. Orbeck. How do you propose the city of Port St. Lucie and its city council gain more control of where sober homes and detox centers are placed?
I think we're going to have to take a multi-pronged approach to a complex problem. One, we need to ensure that we're getting the very best research from our legal advisors and make sure that we're confident in the legal opinions that we received on it. Two, we need to evaluate our zoning and our land uses to see if there's anything that we can do under existing laws to limit locations to proper locations. It's not that the use is bad or it shouldn't be. It's that the use should be properly located. I don't believe that single-family neighborhoods are the best places for treatment. And I think that we have to look at that very carefully. And additionally, at the same time, and this is why it's multi-pronged, we're working at several levels at once. We need to be working at both the state and the federal levels to advocate for changes to the law that allow cities to serve their residents and carry out what we call home rule. Also feel that it's important that until such time that you can make the changes, that you monitor the situation. This is kind of a living laboratory, and so this is happening right before our eyes. Well, if we talk about STEM and science, if you follow the scientific method and you're interested in solving a problem, you have to do research, you have to record data, you have to analyze it. So how are these uses actually impacting our neighborhoods once they exist? Do we know that? How many calls for service? How many times is a police cruiser going out there? How many times is a crime occurring, if at all? Let's have the facts and let's act rationally off of data and make good decisions. We owe that to our people.
Mr. Edge.
Sober living facilities. I think we could also group those in with group homes for adults that need care beyond what they can normally get. And that's a subject very sensitive to me. I have a younger son that's special needs. But what we have to do first is analyze what created the problem. We've created that problem over the last 20 years in this city with a complete and utter lack of respect for property values. What brings those facilities to our city is low product cost, high profit margin, and that's what they want, okay? What we should have done when we first saw this happening was approach these people to help them find a place, maybe not in the city of Port St. Lucie, maybe in the unincorporated part of the county, where they can put their facility where there's not any houses around it. And if people move into that area once the facility is up, then real estate disclosure, they're going to know before they move in. But to impose it on neighborhoods the way that's happened now has adversely affected them, their quality of life, and eventually their property values. But there's got to be a happy medium somewhere, and I think the happy medium is when facilities like that want to come to the city, we have to find a place that's best for both of us and work with the developers and not, right now we're in the react, knee-jerk reaction mode, and we've got to stop doing that as a matter of business, the way we do business in the city. We could have done better for these people where everybody would have been happy, and we haven't done that. We need to. Thank you.
Ms. Biella.
First of all, we have to define sober homes and detox. One doesn't administrate medication and one does. That's number one. The sober homes, we need to get them licensed and registered, which we don't right now. And that's one of the things that this year in Tallahassee that we fought, and if the bill failed. Second of all, I've been going to Washington. I've gone to Washington and spoken to Congress in Washington. And we're not saying that they're bad, detox or sober. If people are legitimately willing to get help, we're all for that. But people just don't want them in their backyard. So we have to find a way for some of the federal requirements to have the cities have more allocation where they go to. And that's what we're fighting right now, and that's what we want to try to amend. We're not trying to do away with them. We're trying to get the people in the communities more where to go, more like hospitals, commercial areas. And that's what we're dealing with right now, and that's what I'm currently working on.
Mr. Howell?
Yes, I believe that this is a tidal wave that has arrived already, and I'm sensitive to that because as a former human resources representative, that I'm very conscious of the Americans with Disabilities Act, and that kind of puts the city of any sort, let alone Port St. Lucie, in a precarious position, because with the downsizing of the military, a lot of men and women who served, who wanted to stay 20 years as I did, they can't. And a lot of them are residents of some of these detox and sober homes that we're talking about. So in my mind, I believe that there's some type of effort on our behalf as a community that should try to forge some type of partnership with churches along with them, because I don't know that there are many constituents or homeowners who are complaining about a church being located by them. But what I see has happened in this case is that basically a lot of people purchase homes without checking the zoning area of the undeveloped land in the front or the back of them, and I'm guilty of that myself. But in light of that, I think this is an ongoing effort that we're, again, going to have to get the stakeholders to the table, because the people, alcoholism, for instance, is a disease. It is a disease, and we must, I'm a law-abiding citizen, and I believe that whether it's drugs, alcohol, or any other vice that one has succumbed to, that we need to address it. But I would, as a mayor, look for a way to see if we could get some clergymen involved to help us find a viable and plausible solution. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Tinto, how would you propose the city gain more control over where sober homes and detox centers are placed?
The detox center for Torino need to be go. That not really good idea to have there. If we even zoned correctly or not correctly, we need to correct this. Torino's neighborhood, they don't want that, and that's your city. And people voice count. If they say this is not good for us, it's not good for them. So detox center could be located different area. That area that we're talking about, hospital. A lot of time, the sober home and detox center generate a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. Insurance money is actually the biggest money that we have floating around. It's employ a lot of people. And it is a viable source for income for a lot of people. We don't have the fortune enough to have those people that have behind their backyard that detox center. If they have detox center, some kind of issue happen, we're going to be responsible for the city. We make the decision. We give them a chance to be there. We need to make a better decision to move those areas out of there and create some, area that nobody can come down and say pinpoint and say, hey, we have a problem. We need to address. Let's take it out. And we have a lot of area that we don't using. Put them in zoning in there, have created some kinds of area they should be going there. I'm really, it's bad for community to have those kinds of area, to see our kid grow up with those people. Sometimes it's not a good answer for the family. So we have to make a good decision about who to zone it, what to not zone it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Rich?
Carol, it's a tough question, tough issue, and it's an issue that's being discussed throughout the country. It's happening not only here, but in other cities. And it's a personal issue for me. I have a cousin that's still incarcerated for an extended period of time because of drug use. And I've lost a cousin to drug use. So it's important. Thank God drug detoxification programs exist to help people get off drugs. But there's got to be a balance between protecting property rights of single-family homes and commercial, but allowing the development of certain properties that are zoned properly. And I think Mr. Orvac and Mayor Fiala had pointed it out already, and I'll reiterate the same. This is going to be an issue that has to be decided at the federal level and at the state level. And we'll look at our codes, and we should. Codes are things that are fluid, and as the city matures and develops and uses change, I think you need to aggressively look at codes to adapt. But always, the priority should be the protection of property rights. I would work towards finding that solution, and again, it's going to be a decision made at the state and the federal level. Thank you, Carol.
Okay. Time now for the closing statements from each candidate, and let's start with Mr. Edge.
Thank you, Carol. This is my second attempt at running for mayor, and the first one was a learning experience, and this is becoming another learning experience. I love the city of Port St. Lucie. I've been here for 24 years. We have so much potential here to do good things. We have to address issues that are going to benefit us in the long run, and one of the big issues we have is our perception to people outside of our area. If I'm going to go to a city outside of the state of Florida and try and get a business to come here, typically the first thing somebody does is they Google Port St. Lucie and look for the good things and the bad things. And the press has not done us very well the last 4 years, and that perception has suffered. And we need to work to fix that. Second of all, we need to address the issue of bringing jobs here. And there's no better person to do that than someone that is a real small business owner, that understands the strengths and weaknesses of owning a business and the successes and failures, and be able to sit down and talk business with someone. I look forward to doing that for the city, and I look forward to your support on August 26th and November 4th. Thank you very much, Carol.
Ms. Fiala.
Thank you. Throughout my tenure and leadership in the last 4 years, you're not going to get another mayor who has worked hard as I have. I've been out there 24/7, 7 days a week. While people were home, I was out there working. I enjoy it. I love the city of Port St. Lucie. I love being the mayor. I kept my promise 4 years ago. I gave 5% of my salary back to the city of Port St. Lucie, and this time I'm giving half back my salary to charitable organization. Throughout my steps of working through a community, there's organizations that really do care about our children, sports, academics, and that's what I'm compelled to do. And I love the city of Port St. Lucie, and I love being the mayor. I enjoy it. I really do care about people. Thank you.
Mr. Howell.
Again, before I close, I would like to say thank you for those of you who are in attendance, and also the League of Women Voters for putting this great forum on. With that said, I do believe that I am or should be the candidate of choice to help us catapult into 21st century mindset. There, again, for the people who wasn't here at the beginning of our forum, 4 things that I'm going to address throughout this journey, and that is the lack of industry. That is the quality of life. That is digital domain / the civic center and education. For I believe that those are paramount, regardless of what level of government that you are in pursuit of, or what type of public office you're in pursuit of. It is very important that we have leadership. And I believe that the mayor did the best that she could do within her skill set. And I believe that all of these other folks up here are just as qualified as her. In my heart, in my mind, I just believe that I'm better equipped to lead us to that next level. We have infrastructure that's already in place, that's untapped into. We have an opportunity to form an alliance with the county. We have a foreign trade zone here, FTZ 218. We have an international airport and empty warehouses along Peacock in Port St. Lucie. We need a visionary who's going to help us tap in to taking advantage of those infrastructures that are in place. And I do believe, again, in my closing remarks, that I'm the person to take us to that level. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Tinto.
Thank you everyone to coming in here and giving us the opportunity to talk in front of you guys, and thank you for everybody on my side here. And the great American made is that we vote in this primary. All of you who want to vote, please vote your choice, your own. Where everybody is qualified, nobody less or not, but everybody is qualified. So whoever making a decision, you make the right decision to vote for it, so we can create a better community. And my closing remark that I organize said again, we need to build more sidewalk. We need to reform the school. The timing is very essential for our telling again and again. And we actually create room for parents again for the work ethics. People don't have a job, we have to create a job. People don't have money, we cannot give them money, but they have to work. They educate them, guide them in the right direction in the city of Port St. Lucie. We can do that. We can create more job, industry, tourism. Digital domain is the problem. Yes, we believe that. It's everybody's problem. It's not the mayor of Port St. Lucie or the city council. It's everybody's problem. We make the decision. You're the one who decide to put in the seat, and we make the bad decision. But guess what? We need to make the right decision. Let's do something with that. Instead of giving up. Why are we going to give up? Let's succeed together. We're going to build a better community, okay? Educate our kid. Playground, light for the street, speed bump is needed, detox center. Some of them need to go, some need to stay. Give them a code enforcement little leeway for business owners to bring the business. Help them. If they need any assistance, guide them in the right direction. As a mayor of Port St. Lucie, I'll hardly work for everybody, and I will try my best to keep it up for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Rich.
Thank you, Carol. Leadership to me is to motivate people to do their job, but to inspire people to go above and beyond, think outside the box, do more than what's required of you. And that's what I want to do. I want to provide that leadership, that face and voice for the city, and we can be proud of. I mentioned earlier that I want to establish an ethics board or ethics council. I think that's critically important. Having confidence in your city government is critical, because everything else that you do after that, if they have no confidence, it just doesn't matter. They won't believe you. Sidewalks have been mentioned, but it never was part of one of the questions that we had answered. And I'm very passionate about sidewalks. We build them as we can afford them through state and federal grants and the block grants. But what I'd like to do is a month before school starts, implement students on the move, kids on the move, some kind of a public service announcement campaign where we're educating kids. You know what? Walk in the grassy areas. We'll make sure that the city and the county, frankly, because we need to work together, mow the grass prior to school opening. I want to make sure that drivers are educated as to when school hours are and so forth. And Rocky had a great point about possibly looking at changing the hours of operations for schools. I want to be a proactive government. I don't want to be reactive and always behind the eight ball. We must get in front of some of these problems and do things that don't create the debt and so forth that we've had. I'm passionate about running for mayor. I want to be the mayor of Port St. Lucie. I would serve humbly, and I would serve with honor and distinction, and I want that opportunity. I'm the candidate that doesn't have a legal defense fund that's taxpayer funded. I don't have a severance package. I'm just a guy that's lived here since '86, a working class guy, and I want to serve my city, as I've done for 8 years on the Planning and Zoning Board. Thank you, Carol.
Thank you. Mr. Orvik, closing remarks.
I tip my bald head to all the candidates. They're all trying very hard to serve you because they all believe they have something to offer. And on August 26th, the people of Port St. Lucie will effectively hire a leader of their $500 million corporation with over 1,000 employees. And the only thing that I ask is that they thoroughly investigate the candidates and make an informed decision to check their history, what they've done, and what they can bring to bear, because I'm hopeful that when they do, our candidacy will rise to the top, that they will see that although everyone is trying hard, over the last 12 years, there's only been one candidate who kept his promises, who worked hard, who made a difference in making Port St. Lucie the best it can be. We have done some good things over the last 12 years together, and I am grateful for the opportunities that I've had to serve the people. We know what we can do working together. By myself, I can't do anything, but working together, we can do anything. We've seen it. We have a lot to do. There's a lot of work. To be great, to truly be a great city, we have to recognize how we can improve. We have to have honest, tough conversations. But if we do that, if we're willing to identify where we need to get better, if we're willing to work hard, work smart, and work together, there's nothing that we can't do. And on August 26th, a better Port St. Lucie can begin, and I humbly ask you to vote for Orvec.
Thank you. We want to thank all of you for being here today. Joe Edge, Joanne Fiala, Chancellor Howell, Rocky Tinto, Jim Rich, and Greg Orvak. Thank you very much for being here and allowing people to hear your views. And we certainly remind people to vote in the primary election on August 26th. We'll be back with more races, Port St. Lucie City Council coming up.